Yeah, very good morning to you, Blaine, and good morning to the viewers at home. Yes, certainly, Blaine, we have been struggling a bit in terms of the provincial government to get information from them as to or details as to what exactly happened at the raid. What we got from the police, which has been confirmed through the spokespeople for the police here in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, is that there were no arrests that were made at that raid yesterday. As you remember the visuals yesterday, our viewers might have seen as well the scores of health officials that were there, and they were there specifically for screening and testing. We understand that just over, there were about 149 adults that were all tested for COVID-19, as well as children and some of the security guards that work in that distribution center. So those results, Blaine, is what we are now going to be waiting for. We were told that possibly from tomorrow we might start to get the results from those tests that were taken. But insofar as the arrests are concerned, the KZN police telling us that there were no arrests. However, Blaine, they did say that, of course, the investigations are continuing around what they may have also found at the mall. Of course, it is still information that is privy to the police, but all we can confirm is that the screening and testing were done, and those results we are now waiting for.
All right, so tell us what's happening behind you. Where exactly are you, Ayanda? It's this roadblock there. Look, we're told the basic principle of this lockdown is to keep people at home, away from the streets, away from interacting with each other. Physical distancing, social connection, physical distancing. When I was driving here to Nasrec, I hit a bit of traffic on the way here, which shouldn't be happening. I'm not sure if that those were all essential workers on the road. There is no way for me to verify. But what are you seeing there on the roads this morning?
Well, certainly, Blaine, as myself and my colleague Tulani Ngobo were also leaving from Durban to where we are here in the area of KwaDuguza outside Durban. We also noticed that there was quite a lot of vehicles that were on the roads. But of course, Blaine, as well, I must say that law enforcement is out in full force. I mean, we went past at least three roadblocks as we were making our way here on either side of the roads and on the main highway as we were coming here to KwaDuguza, and of course coming here to where we are now is yet another roadblock which has started since this morning. And again here we've seen a lot of traffic since we've been here, people that have been passing through, not only driving in their vehicles but also walking on foot. We have observed, Blaine, that a lot of people are wearing masks inside the vehicles, but what we've also picked up is that if according to the regulations, people were not supposed to be packed in those cars. So at least one person or two, but we've seen some of the vehicles here with about four or five people. But we've also noted that the police officials or the police officers that are manning this roadblock are not taking any chances. We've seen them already pull some vehicles aside. We've also seen them turn away some of the vehicles to say there is no legitimate reason for these people to be on the roads. And so they have been going through vehicle by vehicle, looking inside, asking those that are inside to come out of the car. But also what we've seen, Blaine, is there have been a number of taxis. And we know, of course, yesterday the Minister of Transport saying that they were going to be relaxing some of the restrictions, particularly pertaining to the taxis. Others we have observed are keeping to the 8 passengers, including the drivers. Others have not been. Some people wearing masks, but not all the people in the taxis have been wearing masks. But we have seen today a lot of taxis that have been passing by here. And this is just going to be one of the first operations that we are going to be doing in this area. We are also going to be going into an area we cannot mention as yet, because the police have found that there has been some contravention by some people who have been continuing to operate. These are stores and taverns, and so we'll be moving to those areas which we cannot speak about as yet. But Blaine, while I have you, just very quickly, let me quickly ask the spokesperson for the Department of Transport, Community Safety and Liaison in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Mr. Kwanele Ngalane, just to quickly speak to us about these operations. Mr. Ngalane, thank you so much, sir, for your time. You've been here observing what has been happening. You haven't been particularly happy with the amount of movement that we've seen, and thus you're saying that as the KwaZulu-Natal working with the police here in this province, you're going to intensify your operations to ensure that people adhere to the lockdown regulations.
Well, thank you very much, Ayanda, and to all the SABC viewers at home. As you are aware, the MEC for Transport, Community Safety and Liaison, MEC Pegintuli, and the entire executive of KwaZulu-Natal, led by Premier Zigalala, is on the ground visiting various districts, because what we want to make sure is that we clamp down on the unnecessary movement of people. The regulations are very clear that only people who are moving for essential goods, essential services, and those who might seek medical intervention and medical care. The rest of us, we should be staying at home. But what we are seeing in our communities is a different picture. That is why the MEC has then engaged the provincial commissioner and the entire provincial joint operation, which integrates all law enforcement agencies, to say, let's ensure that we mount operations all the province of KwaZulu-Natal, clamp down on the illegal movements of people, and make sure that those who are moving are charged, because we are very serious about keeping the scourge of the virus, and we want to make sure that we send a very clear message. As we are here in these operations are across the province, but we are going to be getting inside the residential areas, monitoring the taverns that are reportedly operating, visiting taxi rank, and we are stopping each and everyone here so that we make sure that we can be able to hold everybody accountable. Where are they going? What are they doing? And those that are embarking on unnecessary movement can then be arrested. But the MEC will give a detailed account during the day on the successes that we have made so far and how we intend to tackle the movements of people and so forth.
Mr. Ngalane, just tell us, since the lockdown did start, in terms of the number of people that you've arrested in KwaZulu-Natal, how many people?
We have arrested quite a lot. In fact, more than 1,100 people have been arrested in the province for various breach of regulations, including gatherings, including found on the road, moving unnecessarily. There are a number of issues. But as I'm talking to you right now, the MEC has been participating in the provincial command meeting, has been engaging with the cluster commanders and the provincial commissioner. Once he arrives here, he's going to give a detailed account of all the operations that we have been taking as the province. But beyond that, he's going to outline the plans, because we are saying the next days cannot be business as usual. We want to stamp authority. We want to make sure that we enforce this lockdown. And if people do not want to reason, reasoning must be hammered.
Mr. Ngalane, thank you so much there for your time. The spokesperson for the Department of Transport, Community and Safety and Liaison, Mr. Kwanele Ngalane here, Blaine. Of course, we've heard from him saying that the police are going to be very firm on those that are not adhering to these regulations. And of course, as I've said, that we have picked up on a number of people, Blaine, that not seeming to want to follow and adhere to these regulations. We're going to be in KwaDukuza, Blaine, for, of course, a while, and you possibly will be coming back to us as we move to then raid within the townships in this area.
You know, and I just want to pick up on why people are not adhering to these regulations. You know the numbers. I mean, it's creeping up in KwaZulu-Natal. We've got a graphic here. Let's put it up and show the folks what's happening in KwaZulu-Natal. Over 180 cases reported so far. We know that there are 2 confirmed cases already of deaths, 2 fatalities already. We know about reported case of Professor Gita Ramji. According to a statement released by the Deputy President yesterday, saying that she succumbed to complications emanating from the novel coronavirus. What's some of the reasons that you are getting from the people on the ground who are not taking this seriously?
It's disappointing to say, Blaine, when you speak to some of the people, because in all seriousness, there are a lot of people who are not taking these regulations seriously. In fact, I think it even starts, Blaine, from information around the coronavirus, that some people are still lacking in terms of information and how deadly this virus is. And we've already seen scenes across the world of the loss of life and the numbers of infections that are arising every minute. And so it does seem to be quite disappointing that the information seemingly is not getting to people. There's been a lot of fake news as well, Blaine, around this virus, that it only affects certain people. In the rural areas and the townships that we've been visiting, people will tell us it's a traveler's disease, a traveler's virus. It will not affect them. But on the other side, Blaine, yes, there are a lot of people also who are trying their best to adhere to the rules, who understand how important it is for people to stay at home. But a lot of people that we've engaged with are quite disappointed that people just don't want to follow these regulations. And I think now, Blaine, when we're now hearing townships like, for example, here in KwaZulu-Natal, KwaMashu and Umlazi, it's possibly going to start hit home. We've already had one death in Umlazi, and as soon as more as that information comes out to the public, it's probably now they're going to realize how serious this decision by government to lock down the country is, but more importantly, how important it is for the country to contain the spread of COVID-19. But Blaine, I must tell you, it really just depends on the area in which you are, the townships and rural areas. A lot more people who are not adhering to the rules compared to the more urban areas where I think a lot of information is available for people there.
Yeah, and the health minister yesterday mentioned Inanda as well as a focus area. These mobile units will be going through to these various hotspots that have been identified around the country. You mentioned Khayelitsha as well. I guess we need to stand together by staying apart, if that makes sense, in order to get over this in terms of getting a grip on the situation, COVID-19, fight against COVID-19. All right, Ayanda, thank you very much indeed, my friend, for your reporting. Ayanda Mhlongo there live from KwaZulu-Natal. We'll try to get back to her